Morning Abotai, another very relevant halacha that comes up on Shabbat all the time. If a person gets a cut, a person's bleeding, something happens, you want to put on a Band-Aid or a gauze pad onto the wound. There are three issues in halacha that have to be dealt with to see if you're allowed to put on a Band-Aid on Shabbat. Number one is refuah, healing. We've spoken about in the past that you're not allowed to do any process which heals on Shabbat. The Chachamim instituted that because of a gzirah, mishum shechikat samanim, where they were concerned they would come to crush herbs. That's number one. Number two is when you tear the Band-Aid open, you're tearing the packaging, that might be an issue of korea. You might be, that's tearing, that's another possible menacha. And the third is when you stick it on, that might be a tolada of tofer. When you stick anything on, that is similar to sewing, you're adding something else onto something else, and therefore, maybe that is an issue. Maran Zichron Livracha discusses all of these issues in Chazon Ovadia Shabbat, Chelek Gimel. Number one, in terms of Refuah Shabbat, he quotes Maran Bet Yosef in Siman Shin Kavchet, who says that protecting a wound, protection from infection, is not considered Refuah. Over here also, a Band-Aid doesn't heal the wound, it just protects it from an infection, so there's no issue whatsoever in terms of Refuah. Then, what about in terms of Korea? You're tearing. He says, even when the Bet Yosef writes that it is asur to separate one paper from others, that's when they were stuck together and meant to stay like that. That is an issue. Sometimes you have a notepad and all the pages are stuck together, and then you rip a page out, whatever it is. That's an issue. Over here, when the Band-Aids were stuck together originally, and the little paper pieces that were stuck on the back of the Band-Aid, those were put there in order to be opened and in order to be removed, and therefore he says there's no issue of korea over there either. What about the issue of tofer, sewing, sticking the Band-Aid on? He says sticking something on is only an issue when it's meant to stay there long term. Over here, it's meant to stay there short term. Band-Aids don't last long. That's number one. Number two, there's no tofer begufa adam. There is no sewing when it comes to the human body, in which case he says la'alacha that it is perfectly permissible to apply a Band-Aid on Shabbat when necessary. Have a great day.